All right. We are back here at Song of the Day, coming to you from the Rock Cave. As usual, I'm your host, Mark Pierce. How are you doing today? It is Saturday. Looking forward to today's topic. We were going to switch over to Halloween at some point. I did a quick list. I haven't looked at it again. I only wrote it down once, but I did a quick list of Halloween, spooky, scary themed music, and I came up with like 45 songs. So I don't know. I'm toying with the idea of doing like 5-7 songs a day starting Monday and do a countdown or something. I don't know. We'll see. I haven't figured it all out yet, but we're not going to start that today because I've been putting off this record's anniversary for a little bit of time now, and it's time to cover it. And yep, we are talking about Pearl Jam. This was a big record, so let's talk about it. Pearl Jam put out their second record, Versus, on October 19th, 1993, 27 years ago. Remember, they're coming off massive tour for 10. They're huge, right? And there's a ton of pressure to put out another awesome record, a lot of pressure. They got a new producer, they got a new drummer. The drummer, Dave, he joined them for the tour of 10. So he was basically on that whole tour, but first time on record. They went through 5 drummers in the 90s. They're kind of like Spinal Tap that way. I guess they would just explode into little green globules, right? Globules. But tons of pressure. So they moved their recording to California in a really nice, cushy, comfortable location, and the band liked it, but Eddie Vedder was like, I hated recording that record. I hated that location. It was just way too comfortable. It was too nice. I couldn't get into my normal headspace, and so he would do things like sleep in his van, sleep in the sauna. The band had to figure out ways to make him uncomfortable, to try to get him through the mental block of writing and finishing songs. So it was a big deal. For this record, they would record each song individually, and the producer agreed to mix it after they had finished it. So each song was already mixed. An interesting approach. But all of their songs were pretty much live setups in the studio. They would just jam and write songs. That's how they would just work through it. So that's why you would hear it sound like they were in a concert almost, because it really was them live. This is their heaviest record by far. This is a big deal. Oh, Ollie agrees. Ollie's up early. He's got a lot to say. He loves Pearl Jam, I'm guessing. So they put out this record, and it's huge. I mean, everyone was waiting and anticipating the second record from Pearl Jam. Remember, there wasn't any material out there that you could get from them. You could only get 10, and then some imports, CD singles that might have a track here, a live track there. We sold tons of their bootleg live stuff, but that was all it for material. So I would say this is the most anticipated album of the 90s, easily the most anticipated album of grunge. I mean, you might argue In Utero, but I don't know. For me, this thing was it was a big deal waiting for this thing to come out. People could not get enough Pearl Jam, and they had made a conscious decision after this record to really just dial the commercial stuff back. And so they weren't doing videos, they weren't doing TV appearances, they weren't doing interviews. It was just really hard to get stuff by them. I mean, I remember after this, later on, when they were on Sara and I Live and they did Spin the Black Circle, I think is what they did. I mean, that was a big deal. We were like all setting our VCRs to record their appearance on Sara and I Live because you just couldn't see them. There was nothing to see them on. So yeah, it was a big deal. When the record came out, it was, again, just a huge, huge deal. It set the record for most copies of an album sold in its first week, 950,378. Come on, people. We only needed 700 more people to make it a million. What were you doing that day? That record stood for 5 years. It's always broken by something interesting, right? That record was broken by Garth Brooks' double live album. Wasn't that around the time that he had retired or was going to retire or announced he was retiring? Maybe he had retired and he came back with a live album. That's what did it. Anyway, doesn't matter. The reviews, as usual, I mean, Rolling Stone liked this record, but Village Voice was like, Entertainment Weekly was like, this is a dud. I don't know. So, interesting. It got 3 Grammy nominations, ended up selling 7 million copies, was 5 weeks at number 1, which was the longest for a Pearl Jam record, and still the case, I believe. It's a massive record, and it's a great record. We play this record a lot. Sarah and I love Pearl Jam. We love this album. Again, it is heavy, but it's got some stuff in there in between. So let's talk about the tracks for a second. You got Go, Animal, Daughter, Glorified G, which is about one of the band members buying a couple of guns and then talking about guns. Dissident, WMA, Blood, Rearview Mirror, Rats. That one's about, like, rats might be more evolved than humans. Elderly woman behind the counter in a small town. And when they packaged that originally, there was a picture somewhere in there of a woman in the first pressings, but that woman did not give consent for her image, so they ended up changing the image of the woman. And when that CD did come out, it came out in one of those digipacks. Remember, that was like a cardboard opening. That did not last very long. I had that one. I had that version. It also had a different title. It was called 5 Against 1 originally. So some of the cassettes were actually stamped with that, or 5 versus 1, maybe it was called that. Leash and Indifference. Leash is a follow-up about the same girl in Jeremy. What's one of those? Anyway, so these are all great songs. We love this record. Like I said, hard to pick a song of the day. I'm gonna do 2 because I don't know. I'm just gonna do that. So we gotta go with Animal. I mean, Animal is just like, it's Saturday, right? Ready to, like, be in your weekend. Animal's like, wow, what a shot of coffee that is, right? So we're doing Animal's song of the day, but let me talk about this song, Indifference. I don't know if you guys know the song Indifference. I guess maybe all the Pearl Jam fans do, but Indifference is probably one of my favorite Pearl Jam songs ever. Absolutely. Yeah. If I wanted to hear a song over and over again, I would put it on a cassette, like a 30-minute each side cassette, and I would just record it over and over again. And so then I could just pop it in my cassette player, and then I would just always be able to play it without hitting the rewind button all the time. And that was one of those songs I did that. Indifference is a great song. So if you haven't heard that, check it out. If you haven't visited it in a while, check it out. We're at 7 minutes. It's Pearl Jam versus... All right, we're going to switch over to Halloween soon. I don't know if that's tomorrow, but I'm going to get my mindset around that, okay? Oh, and we're going to do a t-shirt edition pretty soon, too, for those of you who requested a little bit of tour of the t-shirt. So, song of the days, Animal, Indifference, Pearl Jam. Have a great Saturday. We'll see you guys tomorrow on the Cape. Ooh, tomorrow's Sunday. Slow Down Sunday. I gotta remember that. All right, Slow Down Sunday tomorrow. Have a great day, and as usual, I'll catch you on the flip side.